you believe in one God, I assume. There are about 3,000 to choose from. So basically, you deny one less God than I do. You don't believe in 2,999 gods, and I don't believe in just one more.
Right.
Recently, I received a comment from Imperium F3B essentially asking, throughout history, thousands of religions have sprung up. What makes them false and Christianity true? I want to thank him for asking this question because it's a great one. Let's split this into a few sections to make it easy to understand. There is a God. With so many atheists or religiously unaffiliated people, let's address the question, is there a God? The answer seems to be yes, and we can observe it with our own eyes. As Ray Comfort puts it,
but no one's so foolish to say the painting made itself. Obviously there was a painter. The building is proof of the builder, and creation is proof of the creator.
A computer with all of its complexities has an engineer, and it can't do a fraction of what the human mind can do, which leads me to understand that life has to have an engineer. It seems evident to me that our Earth is no accident. I mean, if the Earth was just 1 mile further from the sun, we'd all... I'm kidding. Earth fluctuates like 3 million miles from the sun every orbit. But everything is designed, and its complexity points to a creator rather than random chance. Which leads me to part 2. Can we know which God is true? The answer is yes. Even if I haven't looked at every God, I can find evidence for truth in one. It's sort of like how I can know that 2 plus 2 is 4, even if I haven't proven that 2 plus 2 isn't 5 or 6 or 7, just by seeing that 2 plus 2 does in fact equal 4. I like how crossexamine.com says that you can have 4 suspects lined up and point to the one who committed the crime. Now, if the officer said, but there's 3 other suspects, how can you possibly know it's not one of them? You'd look at him like he was crazy because you can know the truth, even with a plurality of choices. This is why I don't feel the need to look into verifying every religion when I've already found my answer. And if the answer you find has claims of exclusivity such as, I am the way, the truth, and the life, no one comes to the Father except through me, and you find that option to be true, you don't need to look much further. So we can know what truth is, but how can we know the truth about God? We know that every religion makes claims about the truth, but not all historical claims are equally believable or verifiable. I'll say that the events about Jesus' death and resurrection detailed in the Gospels appear to be honest. The first thing that makes the Gospel accounts seem accurately recorded is that they include that women were the first to see Jesus' resurrection. All 4 Gospels detailed this, even though in that culture, women's testimonies weren't seen as valuable as men's. If the gospel writers wanted to make up a believable story, they probably would have used culturally reliable witnesses. Another thing that adds to the credibility of the resurrection is that 11 out of the 12 apostles, who were all eyewitnesses of the event, died defending the truth of this event. I like how Charles Colson of Watergate infamy describes it. I know the resurrection is a fact, and Watergate proved it to me. How? Because 12 men testified that they had seen Jesus raised from the dead. Then they proclaimed that truth for 40 years, never once denying it. Everyone was beaten, tortured, stoned, and put in prison. They would not have endured that if it weren't true. Watergate embroiled 12 of the most powerful men in the world, and they couldn't keep a lie for 3 weeks. You see, I understand how people will defend and even die for a lie that they believe. What doesn't make sense is dying for a lie that you invented that didn't gain you any wealth or power. And while some people think that the resurrection is a conspiracy, Matthew details a cover-up by the priests and Roman soldiers where they agree to suppress what actually happened. But hey, that's just a theory. A conspiracy Wait, wrong show. Another reason why I believe that the God of the Bible is true is fulfilled prophecies about Jesus. These weren't vague fortune cookie horoscope predictions. These were specific details like lineage and birthplace. And these prophecies came hundreds of years before Jesus was born. There's over 300 prophecies that only Jesus has uniquely fulfilled. And now you may be asking, what's the probability of one person fulfilling all the prophecies of the Messiah? And that's a great question, you cultured king, you. Peter Stoner, a mathematician and scientist, once calculated that the chance of only 8 of the 300 prophecies being fulfilled by one person is 1 in 100 quadrillion. Here's a few prophecies that Jesus fulfilled, such as the Messiah was to be born in Bethlehem, from the line of Judah, more specifically from the line of King David. He was born of a virgin. Some people think that the word Alma, translated as virgin, is actually supposed to be translated as young maiden, making the prophecy null and void. But I just think that makes this even cooler that she was a young maiden with no possibility of being pregnant because she was a virgin. It doesn't contradict, it actually upholds in my opinion. And one thing that seems interesting to me that none of the old pagan religions have is perseverance or endurance. What I mean is, if a god was once active in people's lives, accepting sacrifices, doing miracles, but then just stopped, It'd be kind of odd. Why would they care to demonstrate their power and receive worship and then just stop? If they were real, where did they go? Are they out on a long trip, or maybe they're relieving themselves? We don't see most, if any, old pagan religions persevere in any meaningful way. If a god at one point reached out and wanted to be in people's lives and then just stopped, it would signal to us that he either changed or lost power. Yet the God of the Bible endures, not only in people's thoughts, but also in action. Jesus isn't just a guy who lived a long time ago. He's actively working, healing, changing lives, and causing people to walk in his ways. Before we continue on, I'd like to remind anyone that's enjoying this video to please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoy exploring culture from a biblical perspective. And now, some personal reasons why I believe that the God of the Bible is true. This is going to seem like a rabbit hole, but humor me. When my parents first got married, my dad would tell my mom about the store manager at his company called Big Mike. He had a reputation for being the biggest, baddest, and meanest dude there was. My mom just could not believe the stories he told her. A few years into their marriage, they went on a mission trip with a large group from their church to Africa. While there, they meet a lady on the trip who worked at a different branch of the store my dad used to work at. My dad wanted to prove to my mom how bad Big Mike's reputation was, so he asked, "Have you heard of Big Mike?" Her eyes got wide. He said, "My wife doesn't believe the stories I've told her about him." The lady said she had never met him, but started spouting off all these stories she had heard through the grapevine from years ago. My mom's jaw dropped. He asked, "Do you know what happened to Big Mike?" She wasn't sure. She hadn't really heard anything about him lately. My dad then asked, "Do you think God could save Big Mike?" And the lady said something like, "I'm not really sure. That'd be a tough one." He leaned in and said real quietly, "I'm Big Mike." And then the lady got scared and she started apologizing to him. My dad laughed and thanked her and told her not to apologize because everything she had said was true. I love this story because it shows the effects of a living God. The gospel changed my dad from a rough guy with a horrible reputation to somebody who cared about others and wanted to honor God. Because Jesus changes people. Jesus changes everything. I mean, Jesus shrunk my wife's brain cancer. He saved me from embarrassment when he healed my bedwetting at way too late of an age. There was a good reason I never slept on the top bunk growing up. I don't believe in Jesus simply because I was raised in the Christian faith. I believe in him because I've experienced him. He's alive, still changing lives, and still the only way to the Father. So that's why I believe in the God of the Bible as more than just an idea, but a reality. I hope this video was helpful to anybody wondering why Christians believe in the God of the Bible over any other gods. If you're a Christian, please leave a comment with why you believe in God. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe because it really helps get this content in front of more people. And if you have a question about the Bible and how it relates to our culture today, leave it down below and I might answer it next time. By the way, don't forget about my free Jesus and the Biblical Feast digital booklet that you can download in the description down below. And as always, thanks for watching.
Bam, bam. Bam, bam.